Welcome to the Merick Ulrik podcast. In this episode, Cleve and I interview sci-fi, fantasy, romantasy author Lisa Vandiver. Oh, by the way, she also has some mystery suspense and dystopian fantasy as well. Enjoy the show. Lisa, I cut you off on that first question, and Cleve was like so kindly told me, "Hey, you're messing up. You're messing up, dude. Don't talk over her. Let her speak." And I was like, "Oh, you're right. You're right.
Okay, no, you're
Right."
fine.
So, what was
You're
that first
fine.
question that we were talking about? Like, where you get your inspirations, books you read, or was that the question, or was it a different one?
Yeah, I believe that was the question. I get my inspirations from different things. Mostly, sometimes ideas pop in my head. For instance, I have horses, and so I was just
Oh,
sitting there
nice.
one day thinking, you know, my daughter likes horses, so I'll try and write, some stories about horses. And so I did come up with, Jackson Storm and incorporated horses and animals
hmm
into that story. Um, and let's see, I'm major. I'm more of a fantasy, science fiction, horror
All right.
type writer, so I love that kind of stuff.
That kind of
So
writer.
yeah, so I started writing, things like that. I've got several in those genres. Actually, my newest uh, book story that I come up with, Carnival Road Killer.
Oh, yeah.
I found the inspiration for that on stage 32, which is for screenwriters, and someone was looking for someone to write a horror story about uh, carnival and killers, and everything. And so I wrote a script for him on that, and so that's where that story came
Well, that's
from.
really cool.
So
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah, that is cool.
yeah.
So you have horses. What part of the country do you live in? Because we're about me and Cleve are about, I would say, 600 miles away in the same state. Maybe
Oh,
less than that
mhm.
miles wise. It seems like 600 miles away. He lives in Amarillo. I hope I'm not giving out too much
Oh,
personal information,
That's
but I
okay.
right,
live down
right.
south of Houston,
Oh,
so by the bay. And what parts do you what do you call it, reckon from? I'm trying to say it in country.
I'm originally from
All
Tennessee,
right.
but I'm living in Tupelo, Mississippi
All
now.
right.
Elvis's home.
Tupelo,
Yeah.
cool. I like that. That's cool.
So, right.
I think there's a song
Uh,
by Lucinda Williams about Tupelo. I'm gonna listen to that one
Yep.
today. That's a great.
right.
So awesome. So we are excited because Cleve and I are both like fantasy writers as well, and
hmm
he's working on a western too. It's called
Okay.
Gunpowder, Magic, and Lead. So it's going to be
Ooh.
it's going to be a fantasy western, and I'm like probably the most excited to read it myself. I,
Oh, that
I
sounds
already
good.
have an
Yeah.
idea in my head for a card game based on this, and I'm like, it's crazy. I'm already like,
Right.
never mind. I'm not gonna tell
Yeah.
you the secret of it. But in Cleve's, he hasn't even signed off on the rights yet for that, and I'm like talking about it.
Well, I'm reading your story, John.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I can't
Bit.
remember the
John
title.
Price is a bit, kind of a bit adult. It's a
Yes.
pretty adult. It's a crazy idea. It was about a guy who goes back and gets frozen in time, and aliens take
hmm
over the Earth, and then he has to go back in time to save
hmm
the Earth, and I don't know. It's great.
Yeah, I've just finished the 10th
Oh
episode,
wow,
so I'm getting ready to, but I like it.
it's out there, isn't it?
So,
It's kind of
yeah,
different.
yeah, I like it
Some
though.
aliens and stuff.
Right.
My girlfriend likes it too, that gives me some hope.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, I've just started on Vella, so I don't have any readers or anything yet, quite
Mhm.
yet. But what I was wondering is, what do you guys think about? Why do you think that Vella went from the first 3 free to 10 free? And what do you feel about that? How do you feel? This is a question to both of you because both of you are
Mhm.
a lot further in Vella than I am.
Uh, when I first started, like you said, it was the first 3 episodes for free, and I was doing amazing. I was making decent money, everything. But I'm telling you, I took a hit when they went down to the 10 free episodes, and then they were giving students free reads and things like that, which I'm all for students getting the free reads because
Hmm.
that will help them. But yeah, it's really hurt
Yeah.
a lot of the authors.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I just feel like I'm excited about Vella because the Vella bonuses are really exciting. So you can
Mhm.
actually make good money with a bonus sometimes, but it is kind of
Mhm.
scary the 10 free that you feel like
Right.
they're monkeying with it, and have no
Right.
illusions that Amazon's a very wonderful company. Hate to talk
Right.
bad about Amazon,
No, 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 no. We don't
evil
want to do that.
conglomerate, but it's a great company who cares about its
Yeah.
writers and everything.
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, every time I've had an issue and contacted them, they have been very
Hmm.
polite
Mhm.
and they've helped me with most of the issues. And I actually like writing the Vela in episodic, form because like you said, you have to keep up with each episode because if you don't write the episodes and the reader finishes, they have nothing else to read from you.
Right.
So you've got to keep it up. So it challenge
Motivating.
yeah, it's motivating. It motivates you to get up and
Do
write
you think
every
that
day.
now that they have the 10 free episodes, that it's really in your prerogative to have longer series that are just ongoing? That way you don't have to go through the 10 free episodes again with a new story. Is it better to have longer Vellas or shorter Vellas?
Yeah, yes, I absolutely agree with that because especially with the series. Like, I started writing my fantasy series and I separated them.
Hmm.
Book, like,
Me too.
book 1, book 2, book 3, and I feel like that was a huge mistake.
Mm.
But but they said I could change them and put them together, but I already had my, readers and everything already
Mm.
situated to them being separated, and I didn't wanna
Yeah.
lose that.
I had
So, yeah.
I have another pen name I write with in full disclosure, but I had a bunch of Bellas that were like 11 episodes long or 12, one that was only
Mhm,
9, so that really hurt me. But I had
mhm,
one story that I'm going to back, and instead of I'm adding on to it and having it called like
mhm,
bonus chapters, because I think that some of the readers wanted to know about different characters' backstories. So
mhm.
I'm doing a prequel, but I just chunked it onto the back of another Vela
Right.
and made it like a flashback, so that
Mhm.
'cause I didn't have to because I don't know how long it's going to be. It might be short, and I can just
Yeah.
put it on the end of a Vela, and well, hopefully that'll work out. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I mean, they had said that we could, delete if they had said if I wanted to delete the 2 parts, the 2 books, that went with the original book, if I wanted to delete them and add them to that, I could, but as I said, it it wouldn't have worked out for me
But you're not just a
doing
Vela author.
it.
You publish other books and ebooks and stuff like that. Is that how much of your writing is
Yes.
Vela now versus just Vela and ebooks? Or
Oh, but I would say 65% of my writing now is in Vela.
Mhm.
But as you when you finish a story in Vela, 30 days after, I believe, from the end date, you can go ahead and put them into ebook and paperback. So that's what I'm also doing when a Vela finishes.
Yep.
I wait the 30 days and then I put them immediately
So
into the ebook.
So we're all working together in this. I call it the Kindle Vella email co or newsletter co-op, because
Mhm.
I called my major list that I have for writing down, and I asked him, "Do you read Vella?" And only like 1% of my list, not 1%, but yeah, it was like 1% of my list said yes, I read Vella, and so I got them
Mhm.
onto a separate list, and that would kind of start it. So we're all kind of sharing on this Saturday morning newsletters, Vella's. We'll just
Mhm.
see how it goes, because there's no really guarantee, but hopefully other readers will get to be explored to different authors, and hopefully
Mhm.
it'll help everyone's Velas get more reads. But
Right.
so hopefully so.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I hope it works out for all of us, and you know,
Hmm.
I I don't think Vela. I mean, I may be wrong, but I feel like Vela hasn't caught on like we want it to,
Yep.
like we need it to. So maybe this will help
Yep.
spread the word and get it going.
I wish they would go ahead and expand it to Canada, United Kingdom, because I know I have some
Hmm.
readers to say, "Hey, don't talk to me about Vela because I live in UK and I can't read it." And
Right.
so that's
Hmm.
why I try to get a separate list for Vela readers.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah. So
Hmm.
I'm definitely excited about Jackson Storm. I'm going to finish that today, and then I'm going to write a review about it for our
Okay.
group and everything. Um,
Awesome.
Yep. So I'm excited about that, and it's kind of nice to think about that whole setting of being on a ranch too, because my grandparents kind of had a farm sort of, but it wasn't really like really a professional farm. It was
Hmm.
more recreational.
So, is there
Right.
something that you guys do to become more visible on Vela, or is it just
Well, there's a bunch of Facebook groups. I think a lot of Facebook
Hmm.
groups, authors, what I,
it's kind of the in club?
they get on Facebook groups and share on your Facebook groups, Vellas, and even some do like a token where they read other people's Vellas, and
Hmm.
it's not supposed to be quid pro quo. Like you're not just sharing each other's Vellas, but you're getting in these groups and reading other ones, and supposed to be making more visibility for your book as your I'm
Hmm.
sorry, your Vella as it's getting more reads.
Hmm. Right.
But yeah, so that's kind of the same reason why I did the Kindle Vella Co-op, the newsletter, because there's not a whole lot of ways to market Vella. I know there has to be a
Hmm.
backdoor way to run ads, but I'm not sure. So
Right. I've been trying the Facebook ads, and so far it hasn't picked up. But now there are some authors, fellow authors, that are saying they're doing really well. So I just keep tweaking it and playing with it. I am terrible at promoting. That is the worst part of writing, I
I think
think.
that's everybody.
yeah,
We all hate that.
yeah.
Yes, I hate that. So.
Well, how do you? What advice would either one of you give to new Vela authors? Like I've just started, for example.
Hmm.
Is there any advice or anything? I mean, how did you guys get going? Or you probably got going back when it first started, and then just kind of built from it.
Hmm.
But what about people that just start now? I mean, what's the appeal of getting in Vela?
Well, like I said, the big appeal to me was challenging me and motivating me to write every day. So that is really good. My advice to a new Vella author is, if you've got a series, do not separate them. Put them in the same, you know, season one, season two in the same document or whatever, on
Mm-hmm.
Vella, so that your readers, when they finish season one, they can go straight into the same one to season two. I just think it works out better for the author.
Mm.
I'm
So
trying to write with like with cliffhangers at the end of it, but not every
right,
Vella has a cliffhanger. But I mean, I
right.
try to tease something's coming, or
Yeah.
I don't know how do you do that? Or do you try to do that, Lisa?
That was my question about her fantasy. How does she get that? Keep that going? Go ahead. Sorry.
Right. It's yeah, they say, and even in books in the chapters you want to leave with cliffhanger, but I can't do that every single time. But I try to do the best I can. Uh so
Do you ever get to a
I don't
point and
know.
when you're writing and you go, "Oh, this is the end of the chapter or this is the end of the episode." Like, yeah, this is a good spot and you go on. That's kind of how I feel hopefully. But I I haven't been right you've got you got a lot of words in each you're not cheap on your chapter words. How many words do
Mhm.
you write a day, do you think, Lisa?
Well, for the episodes, I try to you you need to do six the criteria, I think, is 600 to 2,000 words.
Something like that?
In But I try to stay between 1,000 and 1,300.
Mhm.
So I- it depends on how busy my day is, but I can do, you know, 3 episodes a day if I'm not too busy
Mm, that's not bad.
with other things. And but then I put them aside and let them sit, and then I go back the next day and reread and
Right.
edit and send to my editor.
Well, that's
So
a good
about
idea.
yeah, so about 3,000
Are
a
you
day.
are you a
Wow.
plotter or are you a pantser or a discovery writer, would you say?
I'm a plotter. I'm definitely a plotter. Because I'll be honest with you, I fell in love with J.R.R. Tolkien's series so much. I wanted more, more, and I couldn't find other authors or other stories that just could even match his story. So I thought, you know what? I'll just write my own. I'll just, and so
Hmm.
I've started that. I started that 12 years ago,
Wow.
Wow.
and I'm still working on it. And now I'm no J.R.R. Tolkien by any means, but from that experience, I have learned how to plot, and I've wrote down everything, every character, you know, everything. So yeah, I'm definitely a plotter.
Yeah, I need to build better wikis for my stories so I can keep remembering, everybody's features and other characters'
Right. Oh
descriptions.
yeah.
So one of those
Right.
things. If you get away from a story and then come back, a year later or something, sometimes you have to reread it.
Right.
I
That's
have really
true.
comprehensive character sheets I could give you.
Oh yeah, I need to get
Oh
yours. He
yeah.
he, he teaches. Cleve teaches some self editing classes and stuff. And
Oh, do you?
yeah,
I need
Yeah.
some of those. Because I mean, we never
stop learning.
we never get to the point where we've learned everything we need to learn. But if you feel that way, then I think you're failing yourself. So I am the first to admit that I still have a whole lot to learn about this. And I
Mm.
love learning every day and learning new experiences. So yeah,
Cleve,
I
I need your
definitely
character sheets. I never really thought about that. I need to buy
yeah.
them. I can just go on there and buy them from you, right?
I don't have them for sale, but I have something I can just send you.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
They're comprehensive where you can go. You can do all their background. You can do if their parents are alive or dead because in fantasy parents are scarce.
Mm.
It's like the parent always.
Parents are
Yeah.
always dead.
Right.
What happened
Right.
to the parents? They're being raised by their uncle, and the uncle doesn't care. Yeah, go off on your adventure, whatever.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah,
Mhm.
siblings, all that stuff, eye color,
Mhm.
hair color,
Right.
all of it.
So you like
Yeah.
Tolkien? Do you like the Rings of Power series on Amazon?
that's not
That's not
that's
a fair
not Lord of the
question. I'm
Rings.
sorry. I'm sorry.
um.
It's
Well,
fantasy, but it's not Lord of the Rings.
right. It's a great fantasy show. I love it as a. It's a great fantasy show. It has action. It's that
Hmm.
the fighting scenes, great storylines, but it's not Tolkien.
It's
No.
funny. I watched the first
It's-
season, and it's funny. I
Mhm.
didn't realize there was a switch to turn Mordor on. They're like the Mordor
Right.
switch.
You're
And
right.
it's Mordor. And then they
Right.
even
Did you?
have like a sign go on. This is
Oh,
Mordor.
right.
In case you didn't
Right.
know. Yeah, I
Yeah.
just thought there's some things about it was kind of cheesy.
Right.
It's entertaining. I mean, it's a good
Yeah.
fantasy series.
I'm
It's
just so mean.
just not Tolkien.
My
Yeah.
son
But
loves it, and
did you watch it last night?
I didn't watch it.
Did you say?
I haven't seen it.
Okay.
Uh
I
It
haven't
was
watched
the.
the second season. I guess I should, but
Oh, okay.
I should watch it, but I haven't yet.
Well, I'll save you. I'll save the spoiler for it. But if you watch it, it will.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just killing our beloved characters. You know.
Yeah, I know.
oh.
So.
And they brought. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't want to talk about it. It is too soon for me to talk about the songs of the elves singing of falling of Gandalf.
Right.
Yes, write a
Yeah.
poem.
it's.
They should include his fireworks in the song.
Yeah.
No, sorry.
I
So
think of it as like an alternate version. But anyway, go ahead.
right, yeah, that's the only way I can watch it is I just say, okay, it's a great, it is great, it is good fantasy.
Yeah,
You know,
Hmm.
uh, but I just can't associate it with Tolkien.
yeah,
Mm-mm.
So
yeah. It's really hard to do. But
yeah.
yeah, we digress. Okay, so
Mhm.
so we're going to keep talking here, but let's go ahead and plug some of your Vella. So, if somebody wants to find you on Vella and they like fantasy, where should they start first? What Vella would you say is your best fantasy for a new reader who's listening? And they said, okay, I'm going to check out this Vella thing. By the way, you might have some tokens sitting in your Amazon account if you're not on Vella yet, because if you use Amazon, I think you get some free tokens the first time you sign on to Vella. So you might have some
Right.
tokens sitting in your Vella. What do you call that? Pot of gold at the end of the
Wallet,
rainbow. Your Vela tokens are
Right.
sitting there at that end of the
your Amazon wallet.
Amazon
Yeah.
wallet. So use
Right.
those tokens up,
Mhm.
and you can find Lisa Vandiver. We're not done here, by the way. I'm just going to go ahead and plug your
Mhm.
Vela. So, which Vela should we listen to read first? If you're,
Well, let's see. Do you agree? Do you think that the romance is still the best?
I think that women probably are the most voracious readers, and
Right.
that genre has held strong,
Hmm.
like a tower that cannot be defeated. So,
Right.
but there's fantasy, and I love
Right.
fantasy, I love science fiction. So I
Right.
am not probably their best reader
Right.
sample,
Yeah.
but
So for women, I would say Jackson Storm would be a good start. It's definitely centered around the romance primarily. Um, for others, I would say any of the others would be good. Well, Christmas on Canopus is a romance-centered story. Um,
Is that a fantasy too? Canopus?
yes,
Hmm.
Yeah,
yes,
it's
it
funny
is a
because
fantasy.
Canopus sounds like a world in BattleTech. Because you're gonna got me thinking about BattleTech. I think Canopus is one of the planets on BattleTech. So, anyways, go back. Christmas on Canopus. Keep going.
Actually, it is on another planet.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Hmm.
and so we have Snowed In with an Angel is definitely a feel good romance, and it's a closed door, what I call closed door, where sweet romance.
Okay.
It doesn't have the details. Um,
And that one's completed. It says right.
yes, it
What
is
we can.
completed, and for any of my fantasy uh, folks out there that like fantasy, uh, I have the one called Carasylia Enchanted. It is sword and sorcery.
Cool.
It is. It does have light romance. It does center
Sure.
around two characters,
Okay. What is that one
but
again?
it's
Just say that one. So you said it real
um,
fast and I can't. What is it called?
Carasylia.
How do you spell that?
Um, C A R
CAR.
A. I should know this. Carasylia.
I think I'll just look
I
up
believe
Yeah.
I said that.
under your.
Uh,
I have her link tree up on my
Oh
other
yeah,
screen.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
why I
That's how I
was.
can find it.
mm,
Duh. Okay. Yeah, because
uh,
I'm gonna read that one. But then I also kind of want to read Carnival Road Killer. That just sounds like a crazy
oh,
story. I
yeah.
think my girlfriend would like that. She likes anything like crime, murder stuff. She's sick. I'm gonna tell you right now. All she
Okay, now
watches is
I
murder stuff, killing, and I'm just like, I'm
right.
fearful for my life, kind of, because like she's too into it. I mean, just
Well,
saying. And she's not here right now. Don't worry, she doesn't watch my podcast, so she won't know we're
yeah.
talking about her. She never watches it.
So I will tell you, yeah, that is not for everybody. It is pretty vicious. I'll admit it right now. I mean, I really get into the gritty details and crimes and
Yep. She'll love
what
it.
the
She'll love that.
what I say. I- what the murderer puts the victims through is
Yeah.
horrendous.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's not for everybody.
So you also have, I see here, The Pirate's Hope. That kind of looks kind of cool. It's an adventure fantasy horror.
She's got a
Yes.
lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You're pretty prolific.
Thank you. Yes, it's pretty interesting. Jacqueline or J.R. Hopkins
Uh
and
huh.
I are co-writing that story
Awesome.
together.
So how did you? So
Um,
I'm sorry. How did you
oh,
connect
good.
with Jacqueline Hopkins?
Well, we both started writing about the same time
Mm-hmm.
many years ago, and we met up, through groups and everything. And then we lost contact, and she contacted me about 2 years ago, and she said, "Hey, you should check out this Vella. Uh, it's pretty good, and people are doing well on it." And so we reconnected, and we've got three stories. We've got Pirates Hope, The Fae and the Vixen, which yes is definitely a romance. Um, and we've got the Shared World stories together.
Cool. I think
So.
that a co-author series is a great idea because, we all get caught up in the rapid release game sometimes, thinking that,
Mhm.
I gotta have it. I mean, I can tell, like, if I don't have a release after a little while, it's like, God, my sales kind of go down. And if
Right.
you have a series that you're doing with another author that you can write well
Mhm.
with, that's probably the hard thing, where
Yeah.
she's writing or he's writing another episode or
Mhm.
another, like, if you had a series that, say, it wasn't an umbrella but like a book series, you could have multiple books in a series in a world or something that
Mhm.
that could keep the readers engaged in the series, at least that would prop up the
Mhm.
series. I think that's a great idea too. And I
Oh
don't know
yeah.
how many people who are just readers who listen to the podcast, or if there's authors too. So I don't know, kind of author talk here, I guess.
Yeah.
Don't I mean, I hope it doesn't turn readers off that looking behind
Oh,
the curtain at Oz and seeing they're just normal people.
right. I I think readers like that. I mean, as a fan of movies and
Hmm.
everything, I love the behind the scenes. So I kind of look at it like that.
Yeah,
Just give them a little bit of the back behind the scenes
yeah,
look. So
Mhm.
yeah. I
yeah.
think I'm gonna keep writing in Vela, but it's hard. I need to think of a new story to start with Vela. for Merick and Ulrik. But actually, I've got some other books I want to write that aren't going to be Vella, so it's hard for me to.
Mm-hmm.
And I had some Vellas that didn't really catch on, and that was kind of discouraging because I was doing kind of a long
Right.
form fantasy. So I kind of abandoned them, and so to
Right.
figuring out what does sell, I think that things like Carnival Road Killer, I think would be very popular.
It's kind of
Right.
scary.
Yeah.
I hope so. I hope people, catch on to it. It is one of my best sellers, but actually, my Carasylia Enchanted is one of my top sellers. So it's
Wow.
doing really well.
I'll have to check.
I don't
So
know. I had this thought that fantasy didn't do well in Vella. I guess I was wrong. Apparently,
well, as long as
Yeah,
uh,
we need to know the secret. Tell us the secret,
I
Lisa.
don't know the
Give us the
secret because
secret.
I'm not one of
Stop
the
hiding it,
best.
Lisa. Tell us the secret.
I wish I knew the secret because I'm not one of the best
Oh,
sellers
come
on
on now.
Bella, but
Okay.
I'm trying.
Okay. I thought she
Uh,
was the bestseller. Oh gosh, darn it. We're good. Well, we're gonna end this interview. No, I'm just kidding.
no.
Okay. No, but there is
Um,
some formula, obviously, and there's something. Can you give us
right.
some kind of tip? We're just any kind of tip you have for like keeping the
yeah, it's like
authors engaged in the episodes. Like, is it? Yeah, I mean, anything you have can help us. We appreciate it.
I think just I think romance is the top seller in Vela or any of the genres. So if you can, if you like romance and if you want to write romance, I think romance is the key,
Yeah.
the big
John
hit.
Price had sold for me, and it's not romance, but it's a harem
Right,
fantasy. It's a men. If you
right,
look at this, it's like a 13-year-old boy's fantasy, pretty much. He's got action,
right,
adventure,
mm-hmm,
space travel, and he's got his
right,
girlfriends. So
uh-huh,
I don't know. So I felt that one
right.
did pretty well because it was kind of like, what do you call it? I'm not. No, I don't. I didn't mean to just cut you off there, but I was trying to
No, you're
think.
fine.
I feel like it has some sensationalism to it. Do you think maybe
Right. Mhm.
sensationalism kind of helps, or
I think it does. And, I honestly think my problem is, and I don't mean to sound like I'm prideful, but I really think what I've got to offer is excellent. I think it's wonderful, good books, and everything. My problem is promoting.
yeah?
I think, and
mm,
that's a lot of the author's problems is promoting, getting yourself
hmm
out there and promoting Vela because I feel like Vela is not reaching the audience that I would love to
Yeah,
have
and
that
a
is
lot
out
of the
there.
book
Yeah.
marketing is not
hmm
Mhm.
set up for Vella. It's set up for
Mhm.
ebooks. So, like, if you,
Right.
I mean,
Mhm.
Cleve and I get these annoying people in our direct messages every day, and
Mhm.
they like creep onto your Facebook as your
Right.
friends,
and
and they
Instagram.
go,
Right.
"Hey, are you a writer? Oh, what do you
I noticed
write?"
that you're an
And
author.
then
Yeah.
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
soon they're like dogging you. I'll promote your book, and you're
Right.
not in the algorithm. And I'm like, I get dozens of these, and they're just like fake
I do
accounts
too.
and stuff, and it's so annoying. And like I told Cleve, I was like, there's like they ask you, what do you write? I'm like, read a damn book I wrote.
Right.
You
Right.
could find out.
Right.
That's how
Exactly.
I feel like when I'm typing. I'm constantly blocking these guys. I
Yeah.
don't mind it when a reader will message me and say, hey, I read your book. That's great. What are you writing? But
Mhm.
anyways.
Right. But I would say, everybody has all the authors on there have stories,
Yeah.
and there is an audience out there for their stories. So I would just say keep writing the genre that you like, keep promoting it, and just keep plugging at it, and
You know,
don't give up.
I will say this, and I don't know, I don't know, but the best, the most marketing that I've done is from email, building a subscriber base, and so like,
Hmm.
so here's the problem in a traditional ebook, you have a what we call in the writer community
Hmm.
what do you call it? A free book. You give them a free book. It's called
Hmm.
a book. What do they call that?
A loss
Yeah,
leader
it's a
or a
free book
Yeah.
that you send out for your readers if they subscribe to your email.
Hmm.
They call that a reader magnet. That's what I call it.
Yeah.
reader
Yeah, and
magnet. There
so
you go.
Yeah.
they join
Hmm.
your group. But since novellas are not books, it's just on the app. So
Right.
how do you give them a free
Yeah.
Vella? But the whole idea is that to me, I uh, I had a mentor tell me one time to, and I don't do it, but he
Hmm.
told me to email your subscribers every day. every day.
Right.
And I can't. I
Mhm.
just don't do that. But I did have a
Right.
automation set up where I send out like 30 days of emails the first 30 days, which is probably a lot more than most people do. And
Mhm.
what I found is people that don't like you unsubscribe. And I try to be as personal
True.
as possible because I don't want to have a whole list of people that don't want to read my books. I want them to be subscribed. But it's for each
That's
author
good.
has to decide like how much is too much. Am I pestering my audience? Am I spamming them? You know,
Right.
and so we want to have good content. But I have found that for me, that people really don't understand the power of having a newsletter, an email list. To me, it
Mhm.
really is the biggest thing, and it's the most inexpensive things because I've tried Facebook ads for
Mhm.
my books, and to me, first of all, I couldn't get my Facebook ads to stay up. Facebook kept taking
Right.
them down. And I tried Amazon ads, and you can't really do Amazon ads with Vella because it's not the same.
Mhm.
I don't know if they have Vella
Right.
ads, no, but
Mm-mm, I don't think
but
so.
to me, every time I did like an ad campaign, it was like I couldn't tell if it was working. Was I
Right.
just spending money? And
Right.
but I have found that like sometimes I will hire a book promo, not one that messages me, but one that's
Mhm.
a viable book promoter that has a website that I go to them, and then they
Mhm.
share my new release or my discount on to the thing. But then there we have the other problem is like you can't put your Vella on sale and do a promotion for Vella because we're not in control of that. So
Mhm.
where an ebook you can put it on sale for 99 cents or 2.99 or do a Kindle countdown. So it is kind of a
Mhm.
different it's a different
Hmm.
different
Yeah,
thing.
it is. It's a different thing, and also to switch the subject. Um, when you my biggest problem too is when I'm putting up a new Vela is deciding what categories
Hmm.
or genres. I just noticed I had my Desolate Dawn in the wrong genre
Your
because
what
it's
was?
an my
Desolate
Oh
Dawn,
yeah.
Desolate Dawn
Uh-huh.
because
post-apocalyptic.
yeah, it's a post-apocalyptic. I had it as fantasy, and that was totally wrong.
Right.
Mm.
It's not. I didn't realize it is science fiction.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I had it under fantasy, and so that I think that might be a lot of the issues because I noticed not to knock Amazon, but they don't give you all the genres that you need list your stuff.
Oh,
So
in
Mm.
I'm
Vella, yeah.
using
But you have
in
tags.
Vela.
You have tags
So
though.
yeah, so I'm using the tags, and I also go a step further and put my name in the tags because I don't know if you know this, but if you do that, it highlights your name, and you click it, it take you to all of your
Well, that's
every
great.
all
That's
your
a good
work.
tip. I never thought
Yeah.
about that. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a good tip. You know, one thing
Mhm.
I like about Vella is it's episodic, so you don't have.
Mhm.
Well, it's a catch-22. It's a there's a pro and con to this, but you can
Yeah.
actually get your Vella out and it's not really finished or completed. But you can like a
Right.
novel. You if you have 100,000 word novel, that might take you several months to complete. But
Right.
a Vella can be ongoing, and
Mhm.
so I kind of think that a good Vella story is more something that you know that you're going to keep going for a long, long time. That it doesn't necessarily
Right.
have that you have a twist that you could keep doing to it. I think, and that's another thing too about
Mhm.
like romance. I
Mhm.
noticed like romance. If you're doing a romance series, well, you have a happy
Mhm.
ever after. You're not going to have a divorce and get them married to another character. You're gonna
Right.
have to have maybe a setting, and then you're gonna
Right.
go with the okay. This is Carolyn's sister, and and
Mhm.
Joe's uncle,
Right.
and they might have friends that they know each other. How do you weave a romance series going on? Or are you the wrong person to talk to about this? How do you keep a series going? Because you can't just be like, I know there's some rules you can't break
Yeah.
in romance, or it's gonna
Right.
kill your audience. They're gonna be mad at you.
Yeah. You'd probably need to ask someone else about the romance part.
Yep.
Because I mean, I do have romance stories, but it's not my
You're
favorite
just
to
one of
write.
us. I thought you were gonna.
Yes.
You're just one of
No,
us, guys.
but I will say I came up with an idea. Salem, my story, Salem Slayers.
Hmm.
I base it on the the history of Salem witch hunts,
Yep.
Mm.
and so
That's interesting.
yeah. So what I done was I created an institution there in Salem, and they investigate the paranormal, vampires,
Yeah, that could keep
werewolves,
going and
whatever.
going. That's a great
And
idea.
that's so I chose 4 paranormal detectives, and I'm writing the first story, and then I'll go on and write, and I figured that might be one that I could go on and on and on with, and just tell different detective stories,
Yeah,
or different situations that occur around Salem or Boston.
it's really
So
cool.
Yeah.
I think that is a key,
Yep.
like you said, keeping the Vela going.
Yes, that's a great
Mhm.
idea.
So, and
Maybe
also
I was
I
too
know
hard on
that.
myself with my other Vellas because maybe it just takes more marketing fighting your audience. I don't know, but like
Right.
I had enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's hard to tell. It's hard to
It
tell.
is hard to tell, but
And you,
I do know that. Now, correct me if you think I'm wrong, because I'm not 100% clear on this. But I know when you write a Vela at the end of 30 days, when that Vela is, no, wait a minute, let me repeat that. You write a Vela and you finish it, you have to wait 30 days before you can publish it into ebook
Yeah,
and whatever. But it, that includes if you finish your season one and you put season
yeah,
two underneath season one, that still is the same rule. You can take season
yeah,
one.
yeah,
oh,
So,
okay, that's good to
so
know.
yeah, that is good to know, because I worried about that, because I was ready. I had
yep.
uh, was ready to move one over, and I thought, oh no, I don't know if I can do that, but they said I
I
could.
feel
So,
like, and I'm not
Hmm.
trying to be negative, but I feel like when I do a Vela and then I'm promoting before now, what I'm trying to do is separate my promotion. So now
mm-hmm,
I'm talking to my Vela readers primarily just about Vela, and I'm talking to
mm-hmm,
my ebook readers. I'm not talking about Vela because I don't want to turn them
right,
off, and I want because like
true,
if most of my guys are say, hey, I don't read Vela, and you're talking about Vela, you're like, you know, I told you I don't like tuna sandwiches, and you keep bringing me tuna. And so, like, I'm like feeding them tuna. So, anyway, so maybe that's going to help because I felt
mm-hmm,
like before I was just and in me, I'm the over talker, over emailer guy, and so I'm emailing my group and everything, and my list. So what I had found before was if I released an ebook after 30 days of it being on Vela, I'd already been talking
mm-hmm,
about it for 30 days. It kind of got a softer
true,
splash. But I'm hoping now,
right,
if I keep my Vela to my Vela people and my ebook to my ebook people, maybe that won't because I feel like even sometimes changing a cover, well, I can see that even the original
yeah.
cover is not bad, but I feel like sometimes changing a cover, all of a sudden I get more reads on that book because people are re-looking at it. I feel like
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, I like that.
because sometimes like I'll have a
So,
series it's been a while, and then I think I could redo that cover a little bit, change it up. I feel like it does get a little boost in sales. I'm not saying it's magical, but no matter how
hmm,
many times if they've already read it, they're not going to reread it.
Well, I
right.
wonder how many people that read like the ebooks actually read Vela, or if they're separate audiences.
I believe it is separate audiences. Because I've noticed I do get a little bit more sales on my ebooks than I do my Vela, but that's from prior customers, or client, or whatever you
Hmm.
want to say, that I've had before I started
Your
Vela.
fans.
The
Yeah,
fans, and so before I started Vela, and I've tried to turn them on to Vela, and they're just like they're not interested.
there's
Well, let
something.
me know when it comes to ebook,
That's how
and
a lot of
then
movies. But
you know,
Vela is one of the most
um,
inexpensive ways to read a book because you
oh
get
yeah.
like 10 free episodes free. And then on
Mhm.
top of that, if you just started, you probably got some free tokens. But even that, it's just 10 tokens per episode, which
Mhm.
is, you could probably, it's probably cheaper than buying a novel when you get all down to it. So it's
Oh, right.
more cost effective, which kind of worries
Mhm.
me a little bit for the author world. Like if the Vela was the only
Mhm.
way we got our books, it might be, then it might be harder to make a living.
Right.
But as it is right now with the Vela bonuses that Amazon's really trying to bribe us to write Velas,
Mhm.
I think that's cool.
Right. Right.
Because I mean, like
Mhm.
one guy emailed me the other day, and it might have been a book promoter, but I thought it was a real person, and they said, "What do you do to stay motivated to keep writing?" And I was like, "To pay my bills." So I was like, "The electricity bill. If I could pay that, I'll be a hero in my house this month."
Well, maybe the
Right.
readers are afraid
Yeah.
of people not finishing their Vela.
Yeah, that is true. I have heard that.
That is true, because I mean I have started stories, and they've got the first 5 episodes or the first 10 episodes and nothing else, and I just quit. I unfollowed them, and because I thought, if they're not going to.
Oh
So
yeah,
yeah, I think that is a big motivator. So I feel like, you know, um, yeah, maybe that once you get several Velas finished, maybe. and they see that you're going to finish them, it might give them a little bit more faith in you.
Yeah.
That you're
I
gonna
have heard
finish.
readers say that they don't read Vella because they don't know how long it's going to be, if it's going to, and what
Mhm.
kind of investment they're going to have to finish the book, if it's going to be really long or if it's going to be really
Right.
short. But
Right.
I mean, that can't be the case with everybody. So, and Vella's
No.
like really convenient. You could be just, if you have to pick up your kids and you're waiting in the line at
Right.
school in your car,
Read on your
you can
phone.
read it
Yeah.
on your phone. No, no.
Right. Yeah, I like Vela, and it's like you said, it's convenient, and I like it because it's short enough that, like, you can be somewhere, like you said, and read and do a quick episode, and kill time or whatever. So
Yeah. Yeah. So we like Vella, and hopefully we can boost our Vella readers, find some more readers.
yeah,
We want to find them Vella readers. We know they're out there. So if you're a Vella reader, let
right,
us know. Comment below.
Or if you're not a Vella reader,
Yeah,
start.
start reading, and it's
yeah,
an easy way to read and to find
yeah,
new authors that you might really enjoy to read.
That's a
yeah,
good. That's a good. That's another thing. They could sample
Yeah,
authors, because
right,
all of us are also have books out there that you can
right,
buy. So if you want to sample our
yeah,
writing, you could also go to Vella.
yeah,
If
absolutely. And it's like you can read the first 10 episodes for free, so you're not even taking an investment. You can actually go and read the first 10 and decide if you want
right.
to read the 11th. Which
Right, and I mean, it costs nothing to join. It's free. You go in there.
and
It's free sign up,
I just read it right out of my
and
Kindle Reader. I don't know how that's
oh yeah,
how everybody does it. No.
right. So
iPad, anything
I've
really.
had a cold, so I'm sorry if I'm going like this. It's just like I've had a
oh
cold this week, and so
We hate it that you do that.
yeah,
Stop
I
it.
know, gosh,
Quit
and
it.
there's
yeah,
nothing sinister about it. The
No
sniffling,
one's even
there's
right,
noticed.
no
yeah.
lines of
No,
anything
no,
anywhere. It's
yeah.
just cold, folks.
Oh, that's
Trust
funny.
me. Yeah.
We didn't
Mm,
notice until you pointed out. But thank you.
yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because I was making
Now we can't look
I was
away.
making
No.
some videos for the group and trying to help people figure out how to get in the email the newsletter thing,
Mhm.
and I don't know who commented. They said, "Slow down, you talk too fast." I was like, I gotta remember to slow down. Yeah.
Hmm.
Anyways,
So,
Yeah.
with your Vellas, how do you know when to start a new one? I mean, it seems like you have several going at the same time. Do you do
Mhm.
that because you're like me? You just like to have variety, and so if you write one thing too much, it's like, oh, I can't write this anymore. I got to write something else for a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah, I get bored easy, and not because the stories are boring. I just get bored and have to do something different, and move on
yeah,
and everything. So I've got several going, but I think that's a mistake because I put a
yeah,
couple on
it's
hold.
hard to do, but
Because yeah, you can get too many
well,
going,
Cleve
you
here
know.
was writing two books at the same time, and then he got bored. He said,
uh,
"To heck with this! I'm going to write totally something different." And then he's
yeah,
coming out with that gunpowder magic and lead. He keeps talking about,
right,
and I think it's such a
yeah.
cool concept because it's the wizards in the old west. I mean,
Oh, that sounds
it sounds
cool.
so cool. I was like, yeah, I was like,
Yeah,
I can't wait to read it. It's so bad as I'm pumping it up so much because I really want to
yeah.
read it myself.
I hope it's up to
It
standard.
better be because I am really been pumping this thing up like crazy. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it sounds wonderful. I like the old west, and the characters, and I like aliens, so yeah, that'll be
Well,
fun.
being from the South, all of
Yeah,
us, it's easy to write the cowboy lingo and stuff like this here's Fred and things like that, and
Right.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think
That's
it's a little
true.
bit easier sometimes.
yeah.
Right.
Well,
Hmm.
it's very exciting. So Lisa, what is your? I'm sorry, I just cut off the story we're talking about. Well, the gunpowder magic and lead again. But so Lisa, what is your? What are you writing right now? What is your latest Vela that you put out, or what are you working on right now? Anything?
Yes, I'm working on multiple ones, but the one I'm focusing on now is Jackson Storm because I'm almost finished with it, completing
Mm.
it. I'm almost finished with the first season of Christmas on Canopus, and I just completed uh, the Milo Wolf. I just completed it. So that's 3 that I can,
Wow.
mark finish, and then I'm thinking about what's the next ones, because as you said, you have to continue keeping stories going. So I'd like to keep at least 6 stories going at one time.
Wow.
So I'll work on whatever comes to my
Cleve, I
mind
think
that
she's
day
beating
that
you on how many stories you got going at the same time.
That's true.
Yeah. So my favorite story to work on is the Carasylia one, because I just absolutely love the sword and sorcery and fantasy and
Mm.
dragons and things like that. That's my favorite, but I know that I can't do that all the time. So I'll catch up on it and have it ahead, and then I'll go back to the other ones and work on catching them up,
Yeah, it
so I
has
can go to
69
back to my favorite
episodes.
one.
That's pretty good. That's a good one.
Right,
So if you really want to get into something, that would be a good one to get into.
right,
Sounds like she's a lot like I am. It's like you're working on one story, and
right.
then you don't necessarily run into like a problem with the story, but it's like, okay, well, if I work on this other story for a little bit, then it kind of freshens you up for that to
Yeah.
go back to that story.
Right,
So when you go
right,
back to the other story, you're like, okay, I've got a fresher take on it, and you don't get
right.
stuck in that rut.
Exactly.
That's one of the reasons why I switch,
Yeah. Right.
so I don't get stuck in that same rut, and then the same. You start writing the same sentences and the same expressions, and you start using the same filter words that you have to filter out later. you
Right.
know?
Right. That's true.
Cleanses the palate.
Yeah, cleanse the palate. That's perfect. Yeah,
I
Right.
could be a writer. Come up
yeah.
with stuff.
You should write that
Yeah.
down.
Right.
But yeah, 6 at the same time. Wow, I don't
Yeah.
know if I'm ever.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Now
I'm like, whoa.
I don't put episodes out on every one of them every day, because I've learned uh to write them, and this is
Hmm.
true with my books too. Write a chapter or a episode, sit it to the back burner, let it sit for a day, go back, reread it, re-edit it, and then send it to the editor. And I've heard some authors say they self-edit their Vellas. I don't. I mean, to each their own, but I don't trust myself
Right.
uh,
Hmm.
to do that. Because you can go over a story, a chapter or a episode with a fine tooth comb, and I promise
Hmm.
you there'll still be mistakes there.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Cleve has some good points about that. I really, he's such a smart guy, So
right,
he had a one tip that he told me that I thought was really cool, and I still use this. Is well, I use Speechify, but you take your manuscript and dump it into a voiced audio and a voiced text to voice, and you listen to it,
oh yeah,
and you will hear all kinds of mistakes. Well, I don't know about you, but I find because I'll write a word and I'll think in
yeah,
my mind that I can know what I meant, but
hmm,
it'll be
Hmm.
all I'll be missing pronouns and and
right,
it'll tell you exactly how you wrote it. Like
right,
Am got onto the train. No,
right,
Am did not.
yeah,
You know.
yeah. I just found that. I'm so. Uh, my daughter says I'm computer illiterate, but
Mhm,
I'm not.
mhm.
I know a lot of things about Microsoft Word, but I had just discovered the voice to text, where
Hmm.
I think that's what you're talking
No,
about. Is
text to
you can
voice
write,
is what I use, but I dump it into and
yeah,
listen to it back.
Yeah.
yeah. So
Word has it. Yeah.
Word has it, and I do that, and it tells
Yeah,
the story back
even
to
if you have
you.
an editor, it's
So
great to self-edit a little bit before you send it to the editor.
right,
That way, the editor doesn't pull her hair out. I remember when I first
right,
started that I had a couple editors fire me. They were just like, "I'm sorry, I'm not going to be working with you anymore." I had,
Well,
right,
your brain is your own worst enemy,
yeah,
because your brain will try to tell you stuff that's there that's not
yeah,
and
there.
it's not there exactly.
But when Word reads it back to you,
Hmm.
it reads exactly what you wrote.
yeah.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, I cut you off,
No, you're
Merick.
No,
We're all cutting
that's
everybody
all right.
off. Stop it.
Yeah, it's all good. But yeah, so it's great to talk to other writers because they have gone down the path with. So I always say this, like writing is a lonely job sometimes because it's just you in front of your computer, and that's
Mm-hmm.
okay. You're dealing with your world and your characters, and you're having conversations with them, and you're caught up in this. But it's kind of lonely. Sylvester Stallone, he's probably like a little bit. You would,
It makes you fat too,
yeah,
by the way.
okay. But he also Sylvester Stallone said that writing was the most lonely, miserable job. But then again, he's an actor, so
Right.
but I think it's funny because you live and die alone and get the glory of finishing a. It's all I don't know. Like this is maybe over dramatic, and I don't have the right to say this, but I always think that writing is kind of like giving birth. You're. I don't have the right to say it because I've never given birth,
No, you're fine.
but what
Where are you going with this?
you're travailing over this work, and then you get halfway through, and you're like, I can't do this. Sometimes maybe not you guys. You're like good writers.
No.
I'm like a schmuck, you know. But I sit back there and I'm writing. I have a great idea, but when I get to the middle, I'm like, oh, I'm in the middle, and it's uncomfortable. I'm like, there. I know the end, but we got to have good
Right.
stuff here in the middle, and it's just
Right.
like you're getting there, and then. But then when you're done, you're just like so good. You're like, wow, this is fun. I love it. It's out, pushing it
Yeah.
out, and then you forget
Right.
about any kind of trouble
You're
that
never
that you ever
done.
had a problem, and then you get to your next story.
I have written stories and got halfway through and trashed it. I'm like, ugh, this sucks. And yeah, where was I? What was I going?
I have never
where
done
was
that because I do not have a problem putting out crap to my readers because I feel like my crap is as good as anybody's crap.
Okay.
That's a good positive view. Yeah.
I don't know.
But but I understand what you're saying about it is your child
Yeah.
almost. I mean, it's
Yeah.
your baby.
Yeah.
You did birth this. It came out of your
Mine.
imagination and your mind. And
Which is why I hate reviews. Yeah, go ahead.
right.
Yeah.
We hate reviews, but we need the reviews,
Yeah.
But
yeah.
yeah. So but I understand
Yeah.
what you're saying about that.
Yeah.
You know.
The only thing I hate about reviews, or one of the only things, is like when you get the wrong reader reading your book.
Yes, that's
That
exactly what
when
we're
you
talking
get
about.
somebody, for instance, like if somebody was looking for a romance and then they picked up one of my books and then they're like, "This was the worst crap," but then if somebody read it from another perspective, they might enjoy it. So you get a
Right.
readership that will review your books is really good. That way, you get the
Right.
right readers reading your book.
Right.
I've actually found that the worst people to do like beta reads, to read your book, is other authors.
Right.
Oh yeah,
Usually in
Yeah.
your genre,
yeah.
because they're
Right.
so picky.
Oh, they
Gosh.
are. They're so picky. And I've had the worst luck with beta readers or whatever they
I have too.
arc readers. They'll read and then you never hear back from
Well,
them
I
again.
Right.
feel like if you get a
Yeah.
group of good that will continually want to read your books, that's the best
Mhm.
advanced reader copy team you can have. And I feel
Mhm.
like I've got fortunate. I have some really kind ones, and sometimes they even
You are fortunate because it's hard to
sometimes they'll
find.
even message me and say,
Yeah.
"Hey, you misspelled this word here, but I'm not going to
Right.
put it in the review. If you want to go back and fix this, I have.
Right.
This is like the best advanced copy readers in the world.
I need those
There's
names.
only
Oh, that's what
there's only like 40
really.
of them, and then only 5 of them actually
What?
send the do the work. So.
I have trouble
Oh my
getting
goodness.
2 or 3.
I know I can't either. And as far as reviews go, I get reviews on my ebooks. It's the Vellas
Oh
that
yeah.
I am starving for,
Yeah.
reviews on the Vellas. I mean, we have they do we have our author's notes and then they have the comment section, but that does not
Mhm.
count as reviews. If they did, that would be great. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, it's a different. So, but I can get reviews on my ebooks
Yeah,
all the
Well, it
time.
that's
seems like the people who love your work never review, and people who are like don't like, they're always the ones that put the reviews on, and
Hmm.
that hurts you.
Right,
It's like, hey, if you like my work, review it,
yeah.
because to
right,
kind of counteract the people who don't
You
like it.
can't
right.
say it at the end of your book too. You can say, "Hey, if you really enjoyed this story, please review it." I mean, but I don't know
Yeah,
if that
Mhm.
works. But I mean,
Mm.
it's an idea.
yeah. I might try
Yeah.
that. Uh,
Um,
so-
I only thing I did to get advanced reader copies, and I'm not saying I just have the kindest, nicest people on my email list. I'll say that first. So
You
I do have the
do.
kindest,
You're
yeah,
nicest
lucky.
people, and I think they feel sorry for me because I just put it all out there. I just let them know like this is me, and they're like, "Ah, that guy needs some help." Let's just be
maybe I
Maybe
nice.
I
need to
should do
try that.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but one thing I did with my email automation, I'm telling the secrets. Now that
Mhm.
I put out an email saying, "Hey, if you like my books, no, if you'd like to get my books 2 weeks in advance, sign up to my advanced reader copy team, and I'll send them to you for free." I said I send them to you. You'll get them for free. all I ask in return is for you to leave an honest review of my books.
Oh.
Leave an honest review of my books, and you can get all of them for free 2 weeks in advance.
Mhm.
But you know what? A lot of people don't even click on that. They can get all my books for free, but most people don't click on that ever. So
Mhm.
it's like a really small point of my list that do.
Yeah.
And then the ones who I send out, there's probably like 10 that regularly review books. So it just
Mhm.
there might be 40 in that group list, but only like 10 of them actually do review them. So
Right.
I've done that before, and then there's tumbleweeds and wind blowing in the background. It's like, is anybody out there? Crickets.
Right.
all we can do is try, I guess.
Yeah.
And I have a blog, and I'll get, some thumbs up and some comments on
What's the
it,
name of your blog?
but it's, it's an escape from reality, dot
Okay. Well,
WordPress.com.
we're going to be leaving the link in the descriptions below. So everybody bombard Lisa Vandiver's blog and
Yes.
comment on it and check it out because this lady is a very talented, interesting person, an interesting author, and
Yeah.
I think you're going to
Mhm.
find it very interesting. Did I say that?
We'll put her link tree in there too,
Yes.
so that people can find all of her Villa
Yes.
work.
Yeah.
Yes, actually. And I'm more excited about reading her Bellas than ever before now. So I'm going to finish.
I appreciate
I'm going to get further in Jackson Storm, but now I'm kind of more interested in. Well, I'm more interested now in Carnival
The
Road
Carnival
Killer
Killer. I knew it.
and also the was it I can't say it, Carasylia Enchanted.
The Carnival. Oh, okay, yeah. Carasylia Enchanted.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested in that.
Christmas on
And
Canopus.
Yeah.
Christmas on Canopus. Are you sure it's not a BattleTech story? Because I would be more BattleTech. Is
No.
have you played BattleTech? Maybe I should get
No,
you can come
I
play
have
BattleTech
not.
over here with me. I don't have a. It's a strategy game with big stompy robots. Okay,
Hmm.
no, nobody's interested in it. That's my girlfriend's not interested in it. Anyways,
Yeah.
all right. Well, hey, we've had a good time. We've had a good
Yes.
time. We can't keep talking forever. We could, but we well, what would happen? I don't know. So Lisa Vandiver, and you got to check her out on Vella. We got our link tree below. Is there anything else you want to say, Lisa, before we wrap this up, or Cleve? What do you guys want to say?
I'm good.
Well, I want to say I appreciate you having me on here today, and I want to thank the readers, those who are reading from my Vellas. I appreciate it, and those of you who are watching that are not, reading the Vellas, check into it. The first 10 episodes are always free. Cost nothing to sign up, and it's 10 tokens. And the tokens are really cheap to buy. I
Right.
think it's like
Mhm.
99 cents,
Get you a
I
bunch of
think,
tokens. Not
or
Yeah.
200 or something. So I mean, it's not going to hurt you. You're not going to lose anything, doing that. And so I think it's a good
And you'll make some
format.
Vela author's day to hear you comment a review her or his Vela. So if you like
Yes,
it, please review it. As she's saying, it's just
review
like
it. Yes.
it. A review from a Vela author is as rare as hen's teeth, as they say in the
Right.
South. It's rare
And
as
I want to
hen's
thank
teeth.
you for doing the newsletter. I
Well, we're
appreciate
trying to
it.
do it, and like I say to everybody
So
who's a Vela author who's in the co-op, look, we're not promising any miracles here. We're just trying to
right,
boost everybody up. Hopefully, a rising
right.
tide lifts all ships.
Mhm.
But as I try to say, look, do whatever you got to do to market your Vela to let your readers know. And another thing
Mhm.
Right.
too, I heard Stephen Pressfield say this: is if you haven't read Stephen Pressfield, he is the author of the War of Art, not the Art of War, but the
Mhm.
War of Art. Have you heard of that?
Mhm.
And he
Mhm.
said, in a different book, he said in a different book, not in that book, but he said, if you don't fight to give your characters life, no one else will. You're the author, and if you're not out
Right.
there marketing, promoting your book, you're like the evangelist to trying to save your get your characters out there to the world. Nobody else is going to. So it's
Uh,
as writers, sometimes we feel bad about promoting our books, but we really, if we don't do it, nobody will. And we believe
Mhm.
in the art. We gotta share it with people,
right.
and it's what we
That's an
love.
excellent point. Yep. Excellent point.
Yeah,
Yep.
you gotta do what you love, but you gotta pay the light bill too.
Right. True.
Unfortunately,
yes.
Yeah.
unless you have solar
Well, we
panels.
couldn't be doing this podcast in the dark. It would be a whole different experience. We'd have to have the strings on the cans, and we'd really need really long strings. And then we'd need to record it somehow. So I don't know. That
Right.
wouldn't work.
Mm.
All right. Well, I've really enjoyed this conversation with Lisa Vandiver, and thank you, Cleve, for filling in the gaps here. I really appreciate you. And we're going to sign off. We'll be back next week, or actually, we'll probably have a podcast very soon up. Cleve and I are going to review some very interesting cinema, foundational cinema, a must-watch movie that if you haven't watched this,
Yes,
you
must see it.
will have
Okay.
you are not wise, my friend. And then we're also going to be reviewing some rock music that you may be familiar with, but we're not telling you what it is yet because we're going to tease that later. Okay. Or should we? I
Oh,
think we should.
interesting.
We'll tell you later. But these are fundamental. If you fundamental albums to listen to and movies to watch, and we are going to talk about it on our next podcast.
Awesome.
All right.
Yep.
Well, so please.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you very
Please
much.
like and subscribe, everybody, and we'll see y'all later. I'm going to push the button because if I don't do it, we'll never stop.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Merick N.H. Ulrik podcast. Please like and subscribe to this channel. We'll see you next week. Thank you.